God bless us all. Restored Republic via GCR, update as of March 5, 2026. The latest video will be shown earlier at the official website ourdailyblog.com. Judy note, President Trump has activated the final stages of the plan to save the world while declaring 92% of Biden executive orders and documents null and void due to illegal auto-open usage. The global military alliance White Hats have taken charge of the worldwide communication system, TV, radio, Internet, plus taken control of Iran airspace. U.S., Israel, Iran in war. Iraq in blackout. China, North Korea threaten to invade U.S. Expect worldwide EBS alerts, blackouts, 10 days of darkness, lockdowns. Stock up on food, water, cash, essentials for yourself and others. Why? Cabal central banks were broken closing around the world. Gold-backed global currency reset of 209 nations was in progress taking over the old cabal SWIFT fiat currency system, but there's going to be a short time where ATMs and banks will be closed during the transition. For centuries the Vatican Jesuits have not only been in charge of our global financial system, but have run an international satanic network embedded with child sex trafficking used to blackmail politicians and keep control of government activities. The Epstein files have proven that Obama/Biden administrations used U.S. taxpayer dollars to sex traffic children. During their administrations there were 550,000 unaccompanied alien children from the Mexican border believed trafficked by the Biden/Obama regimes. The Trump administration has now found 145,000 of those children, but they were in horrid conditions, while over 100,000 were still missing, believed dead or trapped in the Vatican's Ninth Circle satanic cult sex trafficking ring. A PhD satanic ritual abuse survivor who was tortured and sex trafficked throughout childhood by Jesuit high priests at the Vatican, has exposed Satan-worshipping secrets of the Vatican, Epstein and other Satan-worshipper elites who controlled the world. The Vatican's Ninth Circle satanic child sacrifice cult adhered to Satan's promises of wealth, power and glory through regularly held child sacrifice rites. The Ninth Circle was secretive, centuries old, highly organized and ruled over millions of local satanic cults across the globe. Their monthly satanic rites involved raping, torturing and murdering millions of children a year, while using the blackmailing of politicians to gain and ensure power over world affairs. According to this SRA survivor in the below video, top Jesuits were members of the Ninth Circle satanic child sacrifice cult, which ran a massive international child kidnapping and sex trafficking ring, worked with CIA child torture mind control and harvested adrenochrome and organs from captured children, some they produced on their own, in underground facilities buried deep beneath the Vatican, that connected to like tunnels and facilities worldwide. They controlled the deep state global elites who raped, tortured to death children in satanic rites. Wednesday, March 4, 2026, satanic ritual abuse survivor, the entire world is basically run by a satanic cult, they are not human. Evidently the Vatican has not only controlled the global monetary system since its inception, but dictates their agenda to rule the globe to its world leaders, including the Obama, Biden, Clinton and both Bush administrations. President Trump and his global military alliance, along with BRICS nations, were now taking that power away via the Q movement's plan to save the world. Just this month Trump released the gold/asset-backed global currency reset of 209 nations, taking away the power of the deep state to use and abuse U.S. taxpayer dollars. Trump recently terminated by emergency decree 92% of Satan worshipper Biden's executive orders over illegal auto-open use. Obama, Biden, Clinton and both Bush administrations were heavily involved in the Vatican's CIA mind control through an international child sex trafficking, adrenochrome, and organ harvesting ring. Wednesday, March 4, 2026, bombshell. Under oath, Kristi Noem exposes Biden's child trafficking pipeline, the government paid their abusers, 145,000 children lost. This week under oath Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem testified that the Biden administration directly funded child traffickers through its sponsor program for unaccompanied minors at the U.S. border. The government was paying individuals that were knowingly trafficking them and abusing them. That has stopped. Under Biden, your tax dollars were used to pay criminals who raped and trafficked children. 550,000 unaccompanied alien children lost by the Biden regime. We've located about 145,000 of them. It was the Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, team, The warriors inside DHS who specialize in child trafficking and sex exploitation, that stepped in to do the job the Biden regime abandoned. Noam called them phenomenal, and made it clear, without them, these kids would still be missing, abused, or worse. Biden was first exposed by Trump back in 2021 after he was supposedly elected president in a fraudulent election. 5 Jan. 2021, Biden arrested, SCOTUS Roberts caught, CIA child trafficking, gun, and drug running ring exposed. On New Year's Day 2021, Delta forces raided Joe Biden's 200-acre property in the Ukraine where they found a maze of underground chambers and tunnels that ran for miles in every direction. Bits of necrotic flesh hung from ankle and wrist shackles bolted to the walls. The next day Biden was placed under arrest and released wearing his own ankle bracelet. Seized laptops were said full of evidence of a massive international money laundering, gun/drug running, child/human trafficking scheme that appeared connected to other high-powerful elites. That long list likely included SCOTUS Chief Justice John Roberts, who has long been suspected of being blackmailed to make certain Supreme Court decisions according to Trump attorney Lin Wood in a series of tweets on Monday 4 Jan. Chief Justice John Roberts and a multitude of powerful individuals worldwide were being blackmailed in a horrendous scheme involving rape and murder of children captured on videotape. I have the key to the files containing the videos. Others also have the encryption key. The blackmail targets are approached with a gun, a child, and a camera, claimed Wood. The target is ordered to rape the child on video. The target is then ordered to shoot the child on video. The target is then owned and controlled by the blackmailers until blackmail evidence loses its value. Biden's and Roberts' crimes against humanity appeared connected through the CIA, along with 9 other intelligence agencies including the FBI. The covert agencies appeared to be running a human trafficking, gun and drug running ring used to blackmail political elites. All was being funded by U.S. taxpayer dollars funneled through the CIA, long known to have worked with Jeffrey Epstein and his pedophile island in the blackmail of political and global elites. On the Biden Ukraine property, the military seized $300 million in gold bullion, Chinese-manufactured Type 56 assault rifles, tens of thousands of rounds of ammunition, laptops, and in an underground antechamber were 12 duffel bags filled with black tar heroin. Wood said, one of those intelligence agencies was hacked by a group known as Lizard Squad. The blackmail files of rape and murder were obtained and a copy was provided to Isaac Cappy. Cappy gave the files to one friend and the encryption key to another friend shortly before he was murdered in May 13, 2019. Jeffrey Epstein used this same blackmail scheme of child rape and murder to either further his own interests or those of any intelligence agency with whom he worked. I have no idea extent of blackmail scheme of raping and killing children, but given the number of agencies involved, the hundreds of thousands of missing children, and the otherwise inexplicable actions of many powerful officials, celebrities, and business leaders, I fear the worst. Many issues in our world may be tied to this blackmail scheme, including the bizarre behavior of officials and judges in the recent election. The Ukraine Biden estate was found to be the headquarters of Paradigm Global Advisors. In the late summer of 2006, the Biden family bought Paradigm as a hedge fund and fired 95% of staff. By June 2009, the company was found to be a slush fund for laundering money. On Wednesday 6 Jan. At 9 a.m. EST, just prior to Congress meeting in the Electoral College, the Trump legal team was believed prepared to present extensive documentation of voter fraud, along with proof of Biden's and Roberts' crimes and their connections to foreign intervention in the U.S. 2020 election. Though, we didn't have to wait for that. Long before the 2020 election, Biden had already announced his crimes to the world. Biden brags about blackmailing Ukraine prosecutor, Joe Biden brags about getting Ukrainian prosecutor fired. Biden said, "We have put together the most comprehensive voter fraud organization in the history of politics, and you guys did it for the Obama administration also." Joe Biden brags about having the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in history. Ukraine says Biden stole billions from Ukraine. December 25, 2020, Ukraine press release about Joe Biden. Biden says he doesn't need our votes to get elected. Joe Biden tells voters, "I don't need you to get me elected." Possible timing. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. CBS activation after Iran, Syria next, Ezra A. Cohen on Telegram. According to circulating online reports and alleged leaked military documents, preparations have been completed for a potential activation of the emergency broadcast system, EBS, following the conclusion of the current operation in Iran. These sources claim the system would be triggered immediately after the final phase of Operation Epic Fury. The narrative states that the EBS would function as a full communications override mechanism, capable of simultaneously interrupting television, radio, mobile phones, and internet-connected devices. It is described as operating through hardened satellite networks coordinated with Space Force infrastructure, allowing a nationwide broadcast under direct presidential authority. The first transmission, according to these claims, would announce the completion of the Iran operation and introduce a new phase referred to as Operation Silent Storm, allegedly targeting Syria. Reports describe coordinated military positioning, staged units in the region, and preparations for expanded operations. The narrative further outlines a structured activation protocol involving high-level military authentication and secure command facilities. It also claims that the broadcast would include declassified intelligence, recorded confessions, and footage related to ongoing military actions. Additional elements of the story suggest that the system has undergone technological upgrades in recent years, integrating advanced encryption and satellite control systems designed to prevent interference or sabotage. The broader objective, as presented in these reports, is described as a large-scale institutional reset tied to military operations in the Middle East. At present, there has been no official confirmation of an imminent EBS activation or of the specific operations described. The situation in the region remains fluid, and any expansion beyond current military activity would represent a significant geopolitical development. As always, developments of this scale require official verification. For now, these reports remain unconfirmed but continue to circulate widely across alternative media platforms. Wednesday 4th of March evening 2026, Global Alert, Phase Shift Imminent. Multiple sources confirm the final sequence has been activated, Emergency Broadcast System on Telegram. Military White Hats plus Space Force assets now in full control of global comms grid. Starlink constellation equals locked and loaded for the truth drop. Mainstream satellites offline within hours. Legacy media towers silenced. The 10 days of darkness window is opening. Not metaphor. Literal. Power fluctuations, internet blackouts in select zones, cell service interruptions, all part of the controlled takedown to protect civilians during mass arrest round 3. QFS sync complete on Tier 1 levels. Gold-backed accounts flipping live as we speak. The old fiat beast is bleeding out. Final breath Trump era just is rolling out hard. Names you've waited years to see in chains. They're already processed. Gitmo lights are on 24/7. Military tribunals accelerating. God is in control. This is biblical level reckoning. The wicked shall fall. The righteous shall rise. Prepare your spirit. Stock water, food, candles, batteries, faith. Stay off regular phones when blackouts hit. Use backup comms if you have them. The Great Awakening is not a theory, it is now history in the making. WWG1 forever. How ready is your household for 10 days? The light is about to break through the darkest night. Stand strong. Trust the plan. See Global Currency Reset, Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Iraq is in a full blackout nationwide. Cause unknown. Stephanie Star on X, police light emoji. Iraq is in full blackout nationwide. Police light emoji. Be aware Iraq is experiencing a full-blown nationwide blackout, cause is currently unknown. Makes me think of Kuwait right before they revalued their currency. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. The Federal Reserve has been experiencing a real-time service disruption since 5:30 p.m. ET today, Wednesday, March 4, 2026, causing delivery delays for Fed ACH services that process U.S. ACH payments. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. U.S. debt clock signal, gold, silver revaluation and the fall of central bank control by the City of London, system reset. Monday, February 23, 2026, bombshell, U.S. debt clock goes nuclear, Jerome Powell and the Fed busted in infinite money Ponzi operation bleeding America dry. Duty note, it is advised to exchange/redeem your foreign currency at an official redemption center rather than a bank. You can only redeem ZIM at RC, the dinar contract rate can only be given at RC and banks will offer you lower exchange rates than what you can obtain at RC. Iran war. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Fox News. Holy smokes. Iran straight up admitted they're sitting on 460 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium. They know that's enough for 11 nuclear bombs. They said it with zero shame. Let that sink in. And Democrats still want to play nice. President Trump saw the threat and acted. No hesitation. No weakness. America first means you don't wait for a mushroom cloud. He did what a real commander-in-chief does. Protect the homeland. End of story. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Breaking special report. Sec War Pete Hegseth confirms U.S. and IDF have achieved full, uncontested control of Iranian airspace, March 4, 2026. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Fox News. President Trump confirms 9,000 American citizens have safely returned to the United States from the Middle East since the launch of Operation Epic Fury. News. March 3, 2026. Breaking, the White House just released the full objectives of Operation Epic Fury. This is not a war. It's a major combat operation. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. USS Gerald Ford goes dark. One of America's most powerful warships disappears from public tracking. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the most advanced aircraft carrier on Earth, is no longer visible on open-source tracking systems. When carriers go silent, it usually means one thing: operational mode. A nuclear-powered supercarrier does not need to broadcast its position. It moves when and where it chooses, with overwhelming force behind it. If the Ford Strike Group is repositioning for combat operations, the strategic message is unmistakable. The world's most powerful navy is preparing. Watch closely. Nizar and Jazara secrets on Telegram. News. March 3, 2026. Breaking, IDF strikes Iranian leadership HQ during Supreme Leader selection. What's left of the regime just got hit. News. March 3, 2026. Breaking, Trump orders U.S. Navy to escort oil tankers through Strait of Hormuz. Energy war begins. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Breaking, President Trump reveals countless Iranian regime leaders are now desperately calling, begging to surrender and lay down their weapons. Boom. All according to plan. A lot of people are coming forward, a lot of people you'd least suspect want to quit and want immunity. At some point, they're probably going to drop and lay down their weapons. In the meantime, we go forward. Guru Information and Intel. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. 107 Trump breaking news. Pray for our military. 107 dropped massive intel bombshells in his latest drop, signaling the storm is raging full force against the deep state cabal. As spring blooms across America, patriots sense the shift. Trump's master plan accelerates, dismantling rogue regimes one by one while protecting the homeland. In Iran, the mullah's terror empire crumbles. Trump refused to send endless American boots on the ground, empowering the Iranian people to reclaim their nation. Weapons already flow to resistance fighters, arming thousands to seize destiny. The supreme leader's grip weakens daily. Reports surge of massive internal strikes, with the real death toll from regime crackdowns soaring past 75,000 since early this year. The Persian people, with their rich heritage and exiled business geniuses ready to rebuild oil fields and stability, stand poised for liberation. No more bowing to globalist puppets. Trump ends the 47-year war without endless bloodshed. Pray for those brave souls rising up. The White Hats back them fully. The cabal panics as Iran flips from enemy to potential ally. Cuba heats up next. Trump negotiates regime change from within, offering sanctions relief for real freedom and cutting ties to communist vote-rigging networks. Rogue elements sabotaged a small boat op meant to spark chaos, furious because Trump talks deals instead of invasion. Cuba's tentacles in Venezuela's vote fraud and Maduro's security exposed. 71 nations plus America suffered stolen elections backed by Cuban manipulation, Chinese printed ballots, and globalist machines. Trump offers the Cuban people a path out of captivity, not more war. Smarter than Zelensky or Maduro, Havana's leaders could choose freedom, or face the consequences. The deep state hates this mercy because it starves their chaos machine. Venezuela already saw justice. Maduro captured in stunning Operation Absolute Resolve, airstrikes and special forces ending narco-terror overnight. Trump pieces off the globalist chessboard, Venezuela, Iran, soon Cuba and Mexico, no more distractions from domestic cleanup. The ping-pong game ends, America stops chasing tails while China, Britain, and globalists pull strings. At home, fraud exposure explodes. Bond schemes launder trillions. Arkansas-style development bonds funneled Black Ops cash through Wall Street, zero repayments, 15% flat fees cleaner than IRS hits. Obama purged bond examiners from IRS, Fed, everywhere, now catastrophic vulnerabilities loom. Insiders warn, 5 days or 5 years, but when it blows, it's biblical. Trump's team overwhelmed by fraud scale everywhere, yet momentum builds. Tina Peters remains a political hostage in Colorado, her courage unbreakable, but pressure mounts to free her and expose Polis ties to the bond racket. The March 25 conclave gathers real warriors exposing financial treason funding the swamp, no feel-good speeches, just actionable intel to dismantle it. Silver surges as Trump's tariffs and mining negotiations lock in floors way above current levels, analysts eye $135 to $309 per ounce in 2026, tripling or quadrupling today's price. Patriots stock up, it's the hedge against collapsing fiat empires. Pray hard for our military, the true warriors executing this takedown. Trump's emergency resets loom, traitors face reckoning. The deep state crumbles, giants fall. Gitmo expands massively. 10 days of darkness may trigger full transition. Stay vigilant, Anons, the best is coming faster than ever. Trump leads, we win. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Juan 07, Bopalny and David Nino Rodriguez. March 4, 2026, all hell is about to lose, biblical storm unleashed, scales flipping now, Juan 07 on Telegram. Patriots, the storm rages full force. U.S. and Israeli strikes have obliterated Iran's regime, Supreme Leader Khamenei eliminated, over 1,000 targets hammered in Tehran and beyond. Iranian people flood streets in joyous celebration, finally freed from decades of tyranny. Regime retaliates with missiles on Gulf allies, drones hitting U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Hezbollah pounded in Lebanon. Trump's red line holds, no nuclear Iran, no more proxy terror. Deep state tools collapse as prophecy ignites in real time. Terror cells activate stateside, 2 mass shootings in one night scream jihad. Austin, Texas bar attack, shooter in property of Alagir, Iranian flag shirt, kills 2, wounds 14 before heroes dropped him. Cincinnati music venue spray leaves 9 injured. Sleeper cells rise, unvetted millions from open borders now unleashed. FBI scrambles, but patriots see the retaliation. Head on a swivel, more strikes imminent as dying regime lashes out. Bopalny unleashes truth, epic biblical era peaks. Total blood moon March 3, 2026 aligns with Purim, 3rd consecutive heavenly sign, a trinity unseen in history. Luke's warnings of sun, moon, stars before the great and terrible day unfold. Book of Esther echoes, Haman's genocide plot flipped in 24 hours, wicked hanged on own gallows. Scales flip again. Doom setup becomes God's sudden victory. Millions gone, millions dead, morgues overflowing, in one day. 3M strike as death angel sweeps, wheat separated from tares. Psalms 37, wicked vanish, no bodies. Planes crash, cars lock, global airspace shuts. Stay put when it hits. Crucifixion parallel, enemies thought they won killing Christ, 3 days later resurrection flipped history, granting believers authority to crush serpents. Passover nears, resurrection power surges. Trump, David type, whips deep state money changers, reinstates gold standard, destroys Fed enslavers. Iran, cartels, Venezuela, proxies fall. Protect wealth, 401ks evaporate, gold endures. 107 confirms, not Israel puppetry, neutralizing monsters who killed millions, including U.S. Marines. Iran's 400,000 proxy missiles shattered. Trump arms Saudi/Qatar with U.S. systems for decades, binding them to American will. Ends perpetual war fraud, brings conflict ahead. China proxies crumble, collision accelerates, but Trump castrates World War III. Alien card incoming, deep state screams demons as ETs to explain vanishings, hiding God's hand. Great and terrible day nears, Joel 2:31 eclipse then blood moon fulfilled. Windows, March 19 to 20th, God's New Year, patterns to resurrection April 5. Time compresses, sudden flip. Wealth transfer to righteous follows. Fear not, prophets warn, death angel targets Nephilim, spares faithful. Bodies in streets. Yes, then victory. Arrests loom, high-profile treason in 3 to 8 weeks, media liars exposed. Quanons, this is the climax, Evil crumbles, lighter ups. Prepare, hold the line. God wins bigly, Nizara/Jazara flood incoming as wicked fall forever. Save the Children, Wednesday, March 4, 2026, Satanic Ritual Abuse Survivor. The entire world is basically run by a satanic cult, they are not human. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Underground homes, tunnels, and facilities used for child trafficking all around you. Buddy Webb has been exposing underground homes and tunnels within his local area of Midland, Texas, including residential neighborhoods, stores like Walmart and Home Depot, parks, construction sites, etc. Entrances and exits are everywhere. He uncovered tunnels that are being built underground and leading to people's homes for kidnappings and trafficking. He found this out when he realized there were people under his own home. He has so many more videos on his channel proving his claims with a mountain of evidence. They are all over the place, and I guarantee it isn't just his area. These are all over the country in every town, city, and state. Ezra Cohen on Telegram. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Leaked Epstein tape shows Will Smith sacrificing children in depraved Hollywood ritual. A trove of depraved footage, showing Will Smith and other household names on Epstein's island, has surfaced, and the fallout could be catastrophic. Q. The Storm writer on Telegram. Wednesday, March 4, 2026, reminder that Biden regime set up a hotline for unaccompanied migrant children to report safety issues with sponsors. 65,000 calls went unanswered. Only one person was assigned to answer calls. Now we find out the Biden admin paid the child traffickers at the border. Many kids were living with predators and were forced into sex slavery. Everyone responsible for this belongs in prison. Democrats ran one of the largest child trafficking operations in history. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein plan to get rid of poor people while trafficking a 16-year-old girl. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Epstein files confirm Lady Gaga ate ground child meat at NYC dinner parties. Lady Gaga didn't stumble into superstardom, she sold her soul for it. White Hats on Telegram. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Mel Gibson declares cannibal Ellen DeGeneres must face death penalty. Wednesday, March 4, 2026, J.J. Carell, retired Deputy Patrol Agent in charge U.S. Border Patrol, gives the single most shocking testimony in United States congressional history, The Great Awakening on Telegram. I state without reservation that the United States federal government under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is the world's largest child sex trafficking organization in modern history. The probability that thousands of these children are being raped at this very moment is 100%. I served in the United States Border Patrol for 24 years until I retired as a Deputy Patrol Agent charged in San Diego sector. I worked under 5 presidential administrations, and only one president secured the border, President Donald Trump. Border Patrol agents went from working and being supported by the greatest border president in American history, to the worst, President Joe Biden. My last year in the Border Patrol was Joe Biden's first year in office. On his first day in office, I watched in disbelief as 94 executive orders cascaded down from Washington, D.C., obliterating every immigration policy that had been provided the most secure border in America's history. Border agents were forced to carry out unconstitutional orders, and that violated every law in the Immigration Nationality Act. President Biden, through Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, created policy out of thin air, ignored federal immigration law, and facilitated the largest mass invasion into America that the world has ever seen. The United States of America will have spent hundreds of billions of dollars in 4 years to fund the needs of over 50 million illegal aliens that populate our nation. Between 1 in 6 and 1 in 7 residents in America is an illegal alien. America has suffered the greatest demographic shift in modern history. After serving in the United States Border Patrol for 24 years, I state with complete certainty that Biden, Harris, and Mayorkas are intentionally, strategically, and purposely weaponizing illegal immigration and using it as a tool to fundamentally transform America. Inside this invasion, the unspoken evil of child trafficking, and more specifically child sex trafficking, has flourished. At the end of this current administration, the number of children trafficked will have grown to over 550,000 unaccompanied alien children known as UACs. What we think we know as of Thursday, March 5, 2026 : Wednesday, March 4, 2026, Red Alert, EPA Chief Lee Zeldin confirms stratospheric chemical spraying, sulfur dioxide into the sky, health risks are real, what used to be called conspiracy is now called official policy. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. All 39 leftists who stormed Minnesota church arrested. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Official report: the fight is real. The EPA admits it. Geoengineering is real, active, and happening now. The fight for the sky has begun. News. March 3, 2026. Exclusive: the deposition of Secretary Hillary Clinton. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Boom. Scott Bessent: Trump is waging economic war on British-controlled central banks. It's happening behind the missiles. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Delcy Rodriguez, who is the president of Venezuela, is doing a great job, and working with U.S. representatives very well. The oil is beginning to flow, and the professionalism and dedication between both countries is a very nice thing to see. President Donald J. Trump. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Leaked email bombshell: how do we get rid of poor people? Epstein refers to Gates' question. Video exposes vaccine population reduction plan. News. March 3, 2026. Just in: Supreme Court shuts down California secret gender policy, parents must be notified. News. March 3, 2026. It's official: Democrats in full panic mode as 92% of Biden's orders terminated by emergency decree over illegal auto-pen use. March 3, 2026. News. March 3, 2026. Breaking special report: President Trump and Secretary Scott Bessent confirm 47 has the full right to abolish trade with Spain thanks to SCOTUS. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Obama, with the backing from Hillary Clinton's State Department, deployed a total of $8 billion to the Muslim Brotherhood, which was shared with the group that attacked our consulate in the CIA annex in Benghazi. This means, in essence, that Obama funded the attack on our own consulate and U.S. forces. This ended up creating one of the worst terrorist groups in history, with the help and oversight of John Brennan's CIA, creating ISIS, forming into multiple jihadist groups, slaughtering hundreds of thousands, including Christians, in their original attempt to overthrow Assad in a failed joint covert operation with Brennan's CIA and Saudi Arabia. All roads lead to Obama, the Sif on Telegram. Real news that never made the fake news. Sunday, 3 Jan. 2021. Biden, Harris, Pelosi, Comey, Clinton treason bomb slated to obliterate Congress on Wednesday. Last Sunday, 27th of December, a Ukrainian press conference outlined international corruption sanctioned under a request from Democratic senators and demanded return of billions stolen from the Ukrainian people laundered through what has been referred to as the Biden crime family. While serving as vice president in the Obama administration, Joe Biden outwardly bragged on TV about blackmailing a Ukraine prosecutor, plus just before the 2020 election was also filmed while admitting, "We have put together the most comprehensive voter fraud organization in the history of politics, and you guys did it for the Obama administration also." Monday, December 28, 2020, Biden charged with stealing Ukraine billions, treason for communist interference in 2020 election. A Ukrainian press conference outlined international corruption sanctioned under a request from Democratic senators and demanded return of billions stolen from the Ukrainian people that was laundered through what has been referred to as the Biden crime family. Attorney Sidney Powell has completed a 270-page document on election fraud that showed a Biden/Harris link to foreign interference in U.S. election fraud. The research was said to prove a coordinated strategy with Democrats for direct foreign interference in U.S. elections. Evidently, the communist parties of Iran, Venezuela, Russia and China worked with Democrats to taint the 2020 election. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. After DOJ audits found Minnesota Somalian daycare centers had stolen over $1 billion in taxpayer dollars and Trump cut off funds, Tim Walz came out with his statement while bizarrely laughing. Right-wing YouTubers and conspiracy theorists are breaking into daycares, demanding access to our children. He says he will stand with Somalians in Minnesota, defending them against what he calls unfair actions. Walz says President Trump is wrongfully confiscating funds that people in the state rely on. Voter fraud. Wednesday, March 4, 2026. Pennsylvania sent out 1.82 m mail-in ballots but received back 2.5 m for the 2020 election, exposing Biden's 682K vote spike anomaly. These ballots were counted with no observers, erasing Trump's 700K vote lead when states shut down to steal the 2020 election. The PA state website later wiped the 2.5 m figure. Philadelphia election officials testified that hundreds of thousands of ballots were processed with zero oversight, Observers fenced in 15 to 200 plus feet away and unable to watch or challenge ballots. A truck driver discovered thousands of shredded Trump mail-in ballot applications, with names and addresses, in the back of dump trailers at R.R. Donnelly in Indiana. In 2024, Lancaster County exposed an organized fraud operation with over 2,500 fake applications and flagged more than 50% of mail-in ballots for fraud or being incomplete. This is only a fraction of the fraud in PA, White Hats on Telegram. Wednesday, March 4, 2026, Arizona. Runback whistleblower confirms that Katie Hobbs and her co-conspirator, Adrian Fontes, rigged 3 elections in a row. Runback printed approximately 300,000 ballots and illegally inserted them into the tally, not coming from drop boxes, not coming from polling locations, but instead being brought in by employees, for the Arizona 2022 general election, effectively overthrowing the state government of Arizona. Wednesday, March 4, 2026, Georgia. A hidden camera bombshell. A Democrat ballot harvesting NGO chief, Joel Caldwell, caught on tape admitting it all. Atlanta, Georgia, rigs elections, including the 2020 election. They pay people to illegally ballot harvest. They bribe ballot counters and election officials, they forge and falsify ballots. An Atlanta mayor straight up stole the election. He says it all himself, on tape. Joel Caldwell, that's what happened in 2020, 'cause that's when the ballots, they started stuffing them ballots and people stuffing them ballots, and they got videotape of them, but nobody talks about it. They wanted, that's why Trump was making that big deal about it, because you see it on videotape. It's like, come on. We see the man pull up and put 100 ballots in this box. You know. You can't do that shit. So groups was paying people to do just that. Drop off. He continues, that's why Democrats fight to death against voter ID laws. Wednesday, March 4, 2026, the Clintons' political resume. 12 rape accusations, 121 mysterious deaths, 57 from their inner circle, 1 dead American ambassador, 3 Navy SEALs dead, 10 investigations, 1 impeachment, 2 disbarments, 30,000 plus emails deleted to hinder a federal investigation. Wednesday, March 4, 2026, leaked list reveals members of the secretive Bohemian Grove elite club, Pastor Bob Joyce. A newly leaked document has reportedly exposed the membership list of Bohemian Grove, one of the most secretive and exclusive elite gatherings in the United States. The private retreat, located in Monte Rio, Northern California, has long been associated with powerful figures from politics, finance, media, and industry. The list, which allegedly contains the 2023 camp membership roster, includes roughly 2,200 individuals and is described as a who's who of influential American elites. According to reports, a member of the club privately confirmed the authenticity of the document, though the organization itself maintains a strict policy of secrecy and does not publicly disclose its membership. For decades, journalists have attempted to gain access to the secluded woodland compound where the club hosts its annual summer gathering. Investigative reporters have tried everything from posing as staff members to approaching the compound by river in an attempt to observe the activities inside. The retreat gained widespread attention in the past after footage of its mysterious ceremonies circulated online, fueling ongoing public curiosity and speculation about the nature of the gatherings. The leaked list was reportedly obtained in 2024 by an independent researcher who persistently contacted a San Francisco club member until the documents were eventually delivered through an intermediary. The information was initially intended for publication through a major investigative outlet but was ultimately not released at the time. While many names on the roster belong to relatively unknown wealthy individuals, the list also includes high-profile figures from politics, business, and technology. Among the notable names reportedly appearing on the membership roster are, Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google and executive chairman of Alphabet Mike Bloomberg, billionaire businessman and former mayor of New York City; Charles Koch, industrialist and political donor Henry Kissinger, former U.S. Secretary of State Jim Belushi, actor and comedian Ken Burns, documentary filmmaker Jimmy Buffett, musician and entrepreneur. The list also includes influential investors, financial executives, judges, and political figures with ties to major institutions across the United States. Members of the club are reportedly divided into internal groups known as camps, which function similarly to social fraternities during the retreat. These camps organize gatherings and social activities while members stay at the secluded property during the summer meetings. Despite the high level of public interest, the Bohemian Club continues to operate under strict privacy rules, prohibiting members from discussing club activities, guests, or internal events with the press. As a result, official confirmation of individual membership remains rare. The leak has once again drawn attention to the long-standing mystery surrounding Bohemian Grove and its gatherings, where some of the most powerful figures in American politics, finance, and culture have quietly met for more than a century. The latest video will be shown earlier at the official website ourdailyblog.com. Sincere thanks to all our audience. To continue watching videos without ads, you can subscribe via the Gumroad link below the description. If you want to watch the latest free videos, you can visit ourdailyblog.com. If you continue to love and support us, you can donate to us via GiveSendGo or PayPal or Gumroad link below the description. God bless us all.